Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got something special. Samsung's latest budget beast, the Galaxy A05. We're going to dive deep into this one from unboxing to a full review, and we'll see if it's worth your hard-earned cash. So we've got a lot to cover. Let's get started. Alright, let's see what Samsung's packed into this bad boy. As usual, the packaging is pretty minimalistic, but it does the job. Here we go. First up, we've got the phone itself, but let's hold off that for a second. Underneath we have the usual suspects, the quick start guide, the SIM ejector tool, the USB Type-C cable, wait for it. Yep, no charging brick here. So I had to go out and buy a power brick separately, which is a bit of a letdown. This is something to keep in mind if you're budgeting for this phone. Now let's get to the main event, unwrapping the Galaxy A05. The first thing you notice is how solid it feels. The matte finish on the back is a nice touch, but I'm already seeing some fingerprints. I already ordered a case to deal with that. And check out this dual camera setup, pretty slick for an entry-level device. We've got the power button and the volume rocker on the side, but no fingerprint sensor. It's just a regular power button, which might be a deal breaker for some. So let's talk about the build quality. For a phone in this price range, the Galaxy A05 doesn't feel cheap at all. The matte back is nice and helps with grip, but as I mentioned earlier, it does pick up fingerprints pretty easily, so you'd probably want to get a case. It is also worth mentioning that this phone has a very good weight to it. It's not too heavy, but not feather light either. Feels like it can take a few drops, though I wouldn't test that theory without a case. For comparison, here is the Galaxy A05 next to a mid-range and a premium phone. You can see it's not sleek or polished, but it holds its own, especially when you consider the price. It's also worth noticing that the A05 has a headphone jack, a feature that's becoming increasingly rare in higher end phones. Let's power this baby on and take a look at its display. We've got a 6.5-inch HD Plus LCD screen here. Nothing mind-blowing, but for this price, it's bright and colorful enough for daily use. Colors are decent and it gets bright enough to be usable outdoors, though direct sunlight can be a bit of a challenge. I went ahead and made a few customizations too. Turned on the dark mode and switched to the black smoke theme from the Galaxy theme store. Now it's looking sleek and helps with battery life as well. If you're someone who likes to personalize your phone, One UI Core 5 gives you plenty of options. From themes to wallpapers, there's a lot you can do to make this phone your own. Now, let's talk performance. The Galaxy A05 is powered by the MediaTek Helio G85 and comes with 4GB of RAM. On paper, this might not sound impressive, but in real-world usage, it handles everyday tasks with ease, whether you're browsing, scrolling through social media, or streaming videos. The A05 keeps on. I even tried a bit of light gaming and it did okay. Just don't expect to run heavy games like Genshin Impact or PUBG on this phone without some lag. Multitasking is smooth enough and the 4GB RAM is sufficient for keeping a few apps opened in the background without any noticeable slowdowns. If you're a student or someone who needs a reliable daily driver without breaking the bank, this phone will get the job done. Let's move on to the cameras. The Galaxy A05 comes with a 50MP main shooter and a 2MP depth sensor. On a budget phone, you can't expect flagship level photos, but the A05 does a pretty decent job. Here are some sample shots I took with the phone. Colors are fairly accurate and there's a good amount of detail. The portrait mode also does a nice job of blurring the background, but you need good lighting to get the best results. Low light performance is where things start to get a little bit not so impressive. The photos tend to get grainy and you lose a lot of detail. It is usable, but don't expect anything spectacular. If you're someone who takes a lot of photos, especially in low light, you might want to consider investing in something a bit more powerful. And now, one of the most important aspects, battery life. The Galaxy A05 comes with a 5000 mAh battery, which is pretty hefty. In my testing, this easily lasted a full day with moderate use, that is social media, streaming, a few calls, and some light gaming. If you're a light user, you could probably stretch it to 2 days. It is a great option for anyone who hates being tethered to a charger all day. However, when it comes to charging, keep in mind that you're only getting a USB-C cable in the box, no charger brick, so you'd need to purchase that separately. Also, there is no fast charging here, so you're looking at about 2 hours to go from 0 to 100. Not a deal breaker, but something to be aware of. Let's talk about security. As I mentioned earlier, there is no fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy A05, which is a bit of a disappointment. Instead, you've got face unlock, which is just okay. It is not the fastest and it struggles a bit in low light, but it works. So if you're used to the speed and reliability of a fingerprint sensor, you might find this a bit of a step down. In good lighting, the face unlock works relatively quickly, but as soon as the lighting gets dim, it starts to struggle. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to consider if security and quick access are priorities for you. So, after spending time with the Galaxy A05, what is the final verdict? Well, if you're looking for a budget-friendly phone that doesn't feel cheap, this is a solid choice. Sure, it's missing some features like fingerprint sensor and the face unlock is just okay, but for under $150, it checks a lot of boxes. Decent camera, good battery life, and a reliable performance. Just remember to budget a bit extra for essentials like a power brick and a case. If you're on a tight budget, a student, or just need a backup phone, this one is definitely worth considering. It's not going to blow your mind away, but it's reliable, steady, and does most things well enough for everyday use. Samsung has made some smart compromises here, and overall, it is a phone that offers good value for the price. Just keep in mind that the compromises are real. No fingerprint sensor, and while the face unlock works, it's not as quick as secure as you might be used to on higher-end devices, but for the basics, calling, texting, browsing, and social media, it delivers. Thanks for hanging out with me today and diving deep into the Galaxy A05. I hope this in-depth review helped you figure out whether this phone is right for you. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more tech reviews, and don't forget to drop a comment below. What do you think about the Galaxy A05? Would you consider buying one, or are you considering buying another budget phone? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Check out these other videos for more tech reviews and tips. I've got a lot more content coming your way, so stay tuned. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.